I just wanted to touch on what I think Irene spoke about, and also Savage, and I think there's a big importance in understanding where the origin of kava has come from, and then go from there. Because I think kava has been modernized into a almost similar to Chinese whisper, where that meaning have sort of translated over time and become less and less what it was, and become more of what it is. There's actually a lot of different Faikava and kōwhā Faikava. The modern day Faikava at the moment is a mixture of the courtship Faikava and what was called the kavatau. And the kavatau was divided into two, also as courtship. The kavatau was meant for the kautua. After after each and every day, they would come home, get their family ready for whatever it was, and they would go and fight cover. And the point of that fight cover was to discuss and, in a sense, become cocky of their accolades and what they've achieved. For example, the farmer would come to the fight cover and go, man, the harvest this week the yam was this size. And it was a form of inducing camaraderie, but also to share a little bit of their talent with each other. Sorry if I go back from Tongan to English. I'm still fresh in a sense. So part of my talk tonight will be a bit mixture of Tongan. Now, I want to go back to the origin. The origin has been watered down due to Christianity, but the origin of kava wasn't actually a daughter of Whevanga and Whiwhafa. Kava was marooned where Whevanga and Whiwhafa was, and the reason why is she was a product of incest at that specific time of the Tū Tuitonga. It was a male and a woman Tuitonga at the time, and their relationship with each other was kava became the product, and their father, who was ashamed of this, marooned kava. And that's what, if you guys have ever had the privilege of being part of the olden day kava, of the Faikava, you would usually, if someone was to swear or to do something really inappropriate during the Faikava, you would hear them say, "Hu whangahe kava." And the reason why they say that, it's because she's actually the most purest Tuitonga blood. Not only that, she was the only female, and she was the whahu of Tonga. She was the royal whahu of Tonga. That's why kava is such a big taboo for us in a sense. When kava was killed and sacrificed to the Tuitonga, and the Tuitonga heard of this, and as the story progressed to the tree of the tō and the kava, the first fight kava was to initiate the Tuitonga of that time. And you would notice from ever since then till now, no Tongan tu'i would ever be legitimized without a fight kava. Oh. Mm-hmm. That's why I think it's very important to know the origin. It's not a widely known story, and I'm privileged that I got to. I'm currently in a kava kalapu with a matapule to the house of Ma'afu as part of the kalapu that awesome. And he shares all these stories, and I think all of you guys are right. The state of Faikava at the moment is going in a place that we don't want especially our Pasifiki men to go. And like Siaosi is saying, we need to really look at, why do we go to Faikava? Is it because we're missing something in our lives? What's so important about Faikava? And the reason why I really wanted to tune in, our kalapu is actually, it's the first kalapu to not involve a toa. We do most of our kalapu during lockdowns and do it through Zoom. And we push initiatives to help our people. One of the biggest initiatives they pushed here in Usila was for the kauova. And they pushed it all the way to Parliament, where Parliament now addressed it, and they're now looking at giving amnesty to the tens of thousands of Kauova that's currently living here. Because one of the things that we noticed during our first lockdown Zoom was that a lot of the overstayers here were reaching out to people because now they're out of job, they don't have the help of the government with benefits and whatnot. And we thought, hey, you know, this could be a pivot for us as a Faikava kalapu. We need to get away from this old narrative of men sitting around the circle and, you know, whareria to the toa, because what's that going to do? That's, you know, our kaumali and our relationship with our family is already as bad as it is. So we need to pivot in a way where we men are helping each other, empower each other, and not only that, translate that to our people. And ever since then, the kalapu have just grown, you know, from men in their 80s all the way to teenagers who want to join the kalapu. It's right attention. And, you know, if people go into the kalapu intending to go to the toa and, you know, all that we've seen already, of course that kalapu is going to, you know, follow that sort of narrative. But I think also the most important question that you asked, well, is, you know, what could be the solution for that? I think we need more men in power, you know, men that are willing to say, hey, kau tangata, tuloa dupe, but we need to change this. You know, how about we talk about the guy that got killed that is part of who and whose family? You know, how do we address violence in our area? Or how can we tokoni to our kids that are getting caught up in gangs and whatnot? And, you know, you may be laughed at the kalapu, but then come away from it and take the cover as your tool and approach different people and say, hey, let's sit down and Faikava, but let's do it in a way where we're actually going to help each other.
Yeah, I love what you said, Daniela. It's like it's getting back to the purpose, right? Make Faikava purposeful and taking initiative. That's something that's starting to miss. It's missing in the Western kalapus. And a shout out to your Kava Club. Anybody want to respond to Daniela?
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, go ahead, Irene.
Oh no, I was just saying thank you for the background. Because some of that I didn't even know.
Yeah,
Christianity will do that.
And thank you for bringing all that knowledge and dropped it on us, like, you know, the mic drop information, right?
Right.
And, you know, going back to what your last message is, how do we get men empowered that when they go into a kalapu, the conversation is different. That there needs to be a transformative conversation that people get, so that way that they're empowered. In the way that I'm seeing kalapu here now, in the younger generation, is it's all up for grabs. It really doesn't mean anything. It's such a fad at this moment that it's just, they're taking on whatever that they're doing because it's kind of cool. But how do we, like you said, Daniela, is how do we get young men to really take this platform of the kava ceremony and making it so powerful that each man that walks into the club walks away differently. So you're talking about the future generation and how we get to deal with them. What is needed is more conversation on how to become leaders.
Exactly.
Leadership, right? So if we don't teach young men to become leaders for themselves and leaders for their family, leaders for their community that does not exist, will not exist in the next 10 years. Right? That ball is already rolling. It started rolling back in the 80s when I got into the United States. And it's gotten bigger and bigger in the BS of it. So we need to have this sub-conversation a lot more than ever in teaching kids in the next generation to become leaders for themselves, that they make a difference, that they all show up as leaders in their own way, that they have a dominant effect when they speak in the word that comes out of their mouth, in the word of empowerment. What do we do, like you said, what do we need to do for our family? What's really happening? How can we, this is where the conversation needs to go. So Danielle, you're on point with that. And thanks for saying that out loud, because it makes a difference.
Thank you. Yeah, that was good, Daniela. I like how you said you had a mata pule at that Faikava, and there was an educational process that took place where he handed information from him to you. Yeah. Does that make sense? And I think some of that education can happen in the Faikava session where we're still passing down those, truths, those cultural protocols that have been missed along the way as people have migrated out of Tonga, right? Mm. We need our elders to also step up and do the educational part and lead for the younger generation. Yeah, because it's our identity. It's who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to go off what Daniela and Xiaoxi said, like in the leadership, I totally agree with it. We need more leadership. We need more leaders, people to step up, to take initiative. And also, like, we need more men to not be afraid to be different. Because to be a leader,
you have to be men.
Yeah, you have to be a leader. You can't be a follower. Just follow what everybody else is. You gotta stand by your morals, your values, and what is right. And that's something I really appreciate everybody here having this conversation, and Xiaoxi and everybody here, that we're doing something against the norm of the Pacific Islander community. And it's gonna be a hard thing to do, but it's something that's necessary. Because all it needs is like a domino effect. What Xiaoxi said, all it needs one person to do it. One person does it, somebody will see it.
That's a part of the issue, though, right? Because it does fall to our elders, right, Irene? It does. But our elders, everyone wants to be a chief. No one wants to be the Indian. So at the same time, we can't all be followers. But the problem is finding someone to lead that people are going to respect. And it can't be women in our community, because women in itself, we cannot, a man will not follow a woman, realistically. Like, so, and in our culture, in our society, we need strong men for the survival of that society, right? So who does it fall to? I'm just throwing that out there as like my opinion. I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge what you said about women not being able to become leaders, and I have it. That's BS, especially in the Polynesian community. Like your voice is just as, because you're a leader at this moment. You are a leader at this moment. You're on this platform because you have it. We all have it, that you're part of it. Your leadership exists somewhere. And your word that comes out of your mouth is powerful. Don't have it that only men have the say in your life, because what you say is powerful, right? Every woman at this point in this point of time in life, we can all contribute to the next generation, simply by standing up and saying what you need to be said, because it needs to be heard. Don't discount yourself from this conversation, right? Because we all are the one that's having this conversation. So don't take any power away from someone that's listening.
So I just want to clarify, because this is the issue that always happens when I say stuff like this, right? I'm not saying that women cannot lead. But realistically, in a society like ours, because our Polynesian culture is not a big society, right? So when I say women can't be leaders, I mean we need strong men for us to follow, to take their lead, because we push our men. We make you guys great. It takes a strong woman to help her men lead. That's what I mean. I'm not saying that we're not leaders. You know what I mean? So like I always have to elaborate on like. So anyone who's watching, especially my females, especially females who do follow me on Instagram, you already know what I mean.
I understand where you come from too, because in the majority of the kava drinkers are the men, right? So no, of course, women can make an impact on this, but there's a bigger. I believe if a man does it, there's also bigger impact, because the majority of the kava drinkers are the men. So Savage, you have something to say?
I just wanted to say thank you for Daniela speaking that, because not only is that now recorded, it's a part of history. My son can look back at this and watch it. It's important that we, distinguish or identify myth to fact. I had no idea that kava was tapu, in the sense that, the story I'm growing up with Fefafa and Fevanga, like, oh yeah, it's a beautiful story. They sacrificed the daughter to feed the king. Hearing that now, it not only, I've been working a lot on a lot of decolonization as far as a lot of theories that I have to go back on, things that I've learned from my grandparents versus things that I've learned from books, things that I've learned from Westernization. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, more and more that I keep tapping back into the past, I tried not to get emotional when he was speaking about it, because all I could think about was the twisting of the history, how, you know, Chinese whisper, it passes down and then it changes, and then it changes, and then it changes. But the fact that, you know, you spoke that, of course, a lot of people are going to watch this and be like, why the hell did that guy say it? He's trying to demonize Kava. No, that's not what it is. It's just giving you some insight about where Kava starts from and how we can make it better now, because that's the point, right? The solution is, how do we make it better from here? We can do that now. So I just wanted to tell you, Daniela, man, and I appreciated that. Thank you.
Hey, Daniela, thank you so much for jumping on and sharing your opinion. Really much love to you.
Just before you push me out, I just want to say, in terms of women in Kava, there's actually a Kalapu Kava Tonga here that's run by all women. It's called the Kalapu Silent Whistle. Yes. And it's Kalapu Longo Mapu. So women are taking the space as leaders in their own right. And I support what Tui is saying, because she is right. We need strong men, and strong men can only be raised by other strong men. And also at the same time, not discrediting what Xiaoxi's saying. Xiaoxi's absolutely right. We live in an era where it's a partnership between men and women, that women can become leaders. And oftentimes as men, we often need our women to hold us accountable. And I think along the same vein as Xiaoxi's saying, I both agree. And this is the other thing that people need to realize. We need to listen to understand and take in other people's point of view. You might not, you know, agree, but get your feelings out of your, you know, out of your system and process things in a way that it will make sense to you. Because when you get in your emotion, you know, you become the self-righteous, I'm right, you're wrong, you know, type of attitude, and you can't move forward if there's no growth mindset in there. So that's all I have to say before I get booted off. So hey, everyone.
Daniela,
thank you,
Daniela. Thank you.
All right, Daniela. All right, have a good one. Yo,
that was pretty awesome, man.
Oh, that was awesome, man. All the way from New Zealand, dropping bombs, dropping facts.